What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm back here at Gettle Toyota of Charlotte County in Punta Gorda, Florida with this brand new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. Quite frankly, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, ever since Toyota decided and announced that they're going to bring the Land Cruiser back. I couldn't wait to finally get my hands on one, and today I'm going to take you on a complete tour of this vehicle. This is the first edition, the highest trim level, and we're going to check it out from the exterior, interior, technology, powertrain, and a test drive. So if you like watching videos like this, don't forget to check out the rest of my channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on that bell notification ring bell. And now let's get back to this. All right, guys, before we dive into this particular one, let's talk Land Cruiser as a nameplate for a second. Now, it's been around since the 1950s. That's when Toyota officially named the vehicle a Land Cruiser, but they've been making the off-road vehicle since the 40s, and they were Toyota Jeeps, basically. And that's the J in the FJ series. That's what it stands for. The F was the type of the engine. J stood for Jeep, believe it or not. I thought that could be interesting for some people. Now, we had different series. So we had the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 100, 200 series and 300 series in some parts of the world. And after 2021, Toyota said goodbye to a Land Cruiser as a nameplate. They said it's because it got too expensive and therefore the sales weren't there. Now, 3 years later, they're resurrecting it in a completely different shape, different form. So let's talk about this one. So here it is, guys, 2024 Land Cruiser. I like the design of it. It's completely different than what we're used to. We're used to this as a more luxury vehicle, but that's not where it started. It started as an off-road vehicle, just kind of go about everywhere. And that's what Toyota is bringing back with this generation Land Cruiser. 3 different models are available. We have the 1958 edition, the Toyota Land Cruiser, and basically this one, which is the first edition. Let's take a look and see what we have on this particular one. So you see it has the round lights, LED. You have this halos, kind of like you see on some of the aftermarket Jeep lights, or maybe even some of the Land Rovers or G-Wagons. It's all LED. It has Land Cruiser written on the inside of it. Down here you have the rigid fog lamps. You have some open spaces on the side. You have this nice retro styling on in the grille, a retro Toyota lettering, a lot of spaces for the air to go in. Down here at the bottom you have the plastic looking skid plate. You also have the front view trail cam, and overall a good looking vehicle. Let's take a peek underneath the hood. And here's what's underneath the hood of this one, guys. 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with hybrid system. Now we have a total system output of 326 horsepower and 465 foot-pounds of torque. Made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. We have a full-time 4-wheel drive system. And yes, I know what you're thinking. The previous generation Land Cruiser was a big 5.7 naturally aspirated V8, and the generation before that was a 4.7 liter naturally aspirated V8. And we had the 4.5 6-cylinder engine, and now we have the 4-cylinder. Now, what's nice about it that it has more power as far as the torque and horsepower than the previous generation. It also has a slightly better gas mileage. 23 is the combined number. I think before that was about 17 or so. We have more gears in the transmission, and the numbers look better on paper. Now, some people might argue and say that, hey, this is a small displacement engine, so it might be put through some stress in order to get those numbers. Well, I guess time will tell. Now, let's see what else we have. Now, we have the prop stick, and I think at this price point we should see some hood struts on here. We have some sound insulation underneath the hood. I'm going to take this vehicle for a test drive at the end of this video, so we're going to see how that drives. And as I go around this vehicle, you can see how square it is, and this is my favorite profile of it. I like the squareness of it. If you like the color of it, they call it smoky blue, and notice the different color roof. It looks absolutely stunning in person. As far as the dimensions, it's almost 194 inches long, which is only only about an inch shorter than the previous generation Land Cruiser. It's also 76 inches tall and 77 inches wide without the mirrors. Now you have 8 inches of ground clearance. As far as the wheel and tire setup, on the first edition we have this 18-inch matte black wheels with the Nitto rich Grappler tires. 265 by 70 is the tire size, and you can see, of course, we have the all-wheel disc brakes and the independent suspension. Now if you look at the wheel wells, they're covered in this matte black that continues all at the bottom of this vehicle, kind of to protect it from any of the rock chips or anything like this. You also have a set of rock sliders at the bottom, a fully loaded mirrors, and what I mean by that, you have the turn signal camera and the blind spot assist, and also you're able to get inside and out of this vehicle by simply touching this door handle or putting your hand inside to unlock it. This is your standard Toyota remote with the lock, unlock, hold for the gate, hold for the panic button. Notice the roof box on top. And let's move on to the back side of this vehicle. This is completely new as well as the entire vehicle is. We have the large gate spoiler with the third brake light, exposed wiper, and here, what is this? Well, this is to pull this glass open if you want to. Push this button on the side and this glass will open up. So if you need to throw something inside of it without opening the entire gate, you can do so. And since we have this open right on top, you have this rear view camera for the digital mirror. Toyota spelled out in the middle, another rear view camera, Land Cruiser on the side, iForce Max, and we have this. Now this is a cover for your tow hitch. Underneath here you'll find the tow hitch, 7 and 4 pin connectors. Towing capacity is about 6,000 pounds. Underneath you have a spare tire, and check this out, check out those mud flaps, Land Cruiser first edition. Kind of looks strange, but cool, right? We have the brand new all LED tail lamps. And now let's hit that button on the remote and let this gate open up to see how much storage room we have for the cargo. And the gate opens nice and tall. As you can see, this has this rise in the middle, just kind of like on the Toyota Sequoia we had. Underneath here you have a tiny bit of storage, and that's pretty much it. That's going to make loading stuff inside a little bit tougher than on the regular SUV. Also, one important thing to mention, the previous generation Land Cruiser was a 3-row seater. This one doesn't have a 3rd row seat, doesn't have an option for a 3rd row seat yet. And I'm saying yet is because you have all of this. So you have the cup holders, you have the USB Type-C, you have your own vents up on top. Who are they for? The 3rd row seat, that doesn't exist. Now, of course, the seats fold down 60-40, giving you that much more room. And I'll show you another thing that's why I think that this is going to have a 3rd row seat once we get on the interior. On the side in this compartment, you have a jack to lift up the vehicle, and here's your auxiliary battery. This vehicle is also equipped with the all-season mat. Up on top, you have the lock and close. And let's see what we have for passengers. And starting with the rear door panel, you have the first edition, some soft touch materials used all over the place. Now you have a little bit more storage. Now this is plasticky right here. You have the JBL speaker, of course, the window control and the door handle. Now the seats are covered, I believe, in Syntax. I couldn't find that on the sticker that it is leather. Otherwise, they would probably mention that. You have this armrest with the cup holder, as well as your own climate control for the rear seats. At the bottom here, you have the 12-volt cigarette-style power outlet and 2 USB Type-C ports. Both seats have some seat back pockets. And one other thing that I think that this vehicle is going to have as the 3rd row seat is because the way that the seat opens up, it folds down, tumbles forward, allowing you access to the 3rd row seat that doesn't exist. So let's check out the roominess inside, and once you climb on top, there's actually plenty of room. Now I'm 6 feet tall. I have this seat adjusted to the same position as the driver's seat. And as you can see, I have a couple inches in front of my knees. I have plenty of headroom, plenty of shoulder room. The seats are nice and decently comfortable. You also have this grab handle to help you get in and out of this vehicle. Well, let's get inside, but before we do that, let's listen to the sound of the closing door. Okay, I'll give it about 6 out of 10. Not the best, to be honest with you, not the worst either. In the front door panel, you have 2 memory seat settings, window mirror lock controls, you have a big speakers at the bottom, a little bit more storage. Down here on the door sill, I thought I would see Land Cruiser, but you only see Toyota, and the seat is adjusted multiple ways, including this tie support that's adjustable as well. You have some perforation in the seats. We're going to see if it does have cooled seats as well. And you have the regular size sunroof. On the left hand side of the steering wheel, you have the automatic lights. You also have to can turn on that 120 volt outlet that's actually in the back in the cargo area. You can open the gate or the gas tank. You have the tow gain and fog lights and the dimmer. And you also have the tilt and telescoping steering wheel. Let me get inside. I'll show the rest of this interior. So here it is, guys. This is a brand new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser interior. Here's the first thing that I noticed when I got inside is this is all soft, including this top trim on the dashboard. You have the JBL speakers, you have the round vents on the side. You also have this cool trim piece, which you only find on this part of the vehicle, sadly, but it looks like a rope that's embedded inside of this leather or vinyl. You have the 12.3-inch screen for your infotainment system. You have a head-up display. I'm not sure if you can see right now. There's also on the gear indicator and the speed that's showing up there. Here's your steering wheel, big Toyota spelled out. I don't see any Land Cruiser written down anywhere. I thought they would promote it slightly better. So on the steering wheel itself, the steering wheel is the right size in my opinion. You have a bunch of buttons. So this is what controls what's going on in the instrument cluster. This controls your cruise control, adaptive cruise control. You also have different modes, seek track for your audio. And here's your attention assist, 12.3-inch as far as the instrument cluster. Let's see what we have. We've seen that on the new Camry as well and some of the other new Toyotas. It's fully customizable. I like it. You hit settings, you know, it's gonna allow you to choose one of the 3 different settings for the dashboard. You can see at the bottom, you see 1, 2, 3, and you can select different things that are displayed inside of that. Right now on the right hand side we have a speedometer, tachometer on the left hand side, 94 degrees outside. It's 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. here in Florida. 42 miles to empty. You know, as I mentioned, 23 miles per gallon is the average what you'll get or you're supposed to get on this vehicle. And you have a lot of other customization here. I'm gonna get out of this setting, and so we can have a blank screen, driving support, map, settings, message, and back to blank. And now let's move on to the infotainment system. So you have this volume button that's kind of located like in between the instrument cluster and infotainment system, and this is the standard new infotainment system that you see on pretty much all of the new Toyotas. We're going to cancel the setup. Let's see what we have. So navigation, cloud-based navigation. We have the tunes, you have the FM, AM, and Sirius XM. You can connect your phone, of course, and then you have wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Here's your climate controls. You can control it through here. You can also control it through the bottom of it. Let's put it in reverse and let's see what the rear view camera looks like. So we have the top-down view and the full 360, pretty cool. And you have the different angles here. Let's see, we have the front, we have the rear. Okay, check surroundings for safety. You can also wash that camera system and the rear window in case it is not good quality. And multi-terrain monitor, we have everything on. Cornering view, view under vehicle, Toyota Park Assist 3D. That is a pretty cool setup. So if you start driving, I should see that. I'm gonna press this view and let's take a look. Go to this front view. Let's see if it's gonna show me underneath the vehicle. There you go. It basically records what's going on underneath the vehicle and then projects it. So if you're going over any type of rocks, it's gonna project it on the screen for you. Very useful, especially if you're trail riding, you know, and you don't know the terrain. You don't need the spotter or anything like this. This is basically your infotainment system. You know, you have a bunch of settings that you can adjust as well. We've covered this system on other Toyota videos, so you can check out more in depth on, let's say, my Toyota Camry review. Heated and ventilated seats feel really, really good right about now. We have the front window defogger, rear window defroster, kind of a vintage style as far as the buttons of it. Of course, the dual zone climate control in the front. You have the third zone in the back. You have the mode select. Now this is for your drive modes. So sport, normal, and eco are your drive modes in here. And you actually can turn this MTS, which is the multi-terrain system, and that goes a little bit in depth as far as the drive modes, because now we have auto, sand, mud, deep snow. So these are your off-road driving modes, or automatic as far as the four-wheel drive. And then we have the downhill assist control, and we also have the crawl control, so that's gonna regulate your throttle as you go downhill with this vehicle. 3 USB Type-C wireless charging pad. You have the electronic parking brake, and then you have the stabilizer bar. You can disconnect it. There's a button for it. You also have the traction control off button, and as you can see, you have the rear diff lock and the central diff lock. This is your four-wheel drive. Push it to switch it to high 4 or low 4, depending on which setting you are using. I'm going to leave it in the middle there. 2 big cup holders. More storage here. You have a cool box. Okay, so it's cooling. It's actually blowing cold air right now on my hand. So if you put something cold in here, I don't think it's going to cool it down like some of the Mercedes one, but at least it's going to keep it cold enough. Now, here's that rear view camera. You can turn this on, and of course you have the home link system here, as well as the adjustments for that rear view camera. And we have the controls for the sunroof. Okay, you have the manual sunshade. You can tilt and tilt and slide this moonroof or sunroof, and illuminated mirrors up on top. And this is the interior of this vehicle. By the way, it does have the JBL stereo. That sounds really good, but unfortunately, because of the YouTube copyright policies, I can't present anything for you without getting dinged. Before we take it for a spin, let's talk about pricing. 1958 is the first model available. 55,950 is the starting price. That one is very base. It's got cloth seats. It doesn't have much on the interior, but it does have the same legendary performance and off-road capabilities that would just have a Land Cruiser. Now the difference between, from the look perspective, between this and the Land Cruiser is that the Land Cruiser actually have the rectangular lights. This one has the round lights, and that one starts at 61,950, and the first edition 74,950 is the starting MSRP. I gotta tell you, this is just a starting MSRP, right? This one is about 79 MSRP. The first impression, you sit up higher. I love the squareness of the hood, and I love those 2 raises on the side of it. It kind of contributes to the better visibility as far as the front end of this vehicle. Good turning ratio. We're going around in circles. The engine is not very loud, and the suspension is fairly stiff. Now you have the same brake lights. I just noticed that in the dashboard, as you've seen on the Camry. Let's see how it accelerates. Well, it's got some pickup and go, that's for sure. I'm going to select the sport mode versus eco. It should give us a little bit different gearing as far as the engine. Maybe do it slightly more responsive. So when we talk about the numbers, you know, the 326 is more horsepower than we've seen on the previous generation Land Cruiser. We also have a lot more torque than on the previous generation Land Cruiser. But that's coming out of a 4-cylinder, 2.4-liter turbocharged engine. Let me know what you think about it. I know that this was one of the things that I was concerned about looking at this vehicle, looking at the specs of it before I took it for a spin. So now driving around, and does it feel underpowered? No. But the question is this is a 4-cylinder versus the 8-cylinder we had before. We had naturally aspirated. This is turbocharged. Is it putting too much stress on it? Overall driving it is pretty nice, right? Let's get into this gravel lot that we have on the side here, because that's what this vehicle was meant to do, is kind of go off the beaten path and I don't have an off-road trail, neither this is my vehicle, so it is available for sale. I'm not going to beat on it. I'm not going to do 0 to 60 or anything like this. This is a specialty vehicle, and I want to respect it for the sake of the customer who might want to buy it. However, I can tell you right now that it feels really good on this gravel road, on this gravel parking lot. I go through some of those off-road bumps. It feels really nice. Okay, it is a body on frame, so this is the real deal. Most of the mid-size SUVs you'll find, like the Highlander, the Grand Highlanders, they're going to be unibody construction, which basically have no frame, right? It's incorporated inside the entire body of the vehicle. This one is a separate frame, and the body sits on top of it. It's more rigid. It also have a better off-road capabilities. We have that as far as the Sequoia, the Land Cruiser, and the 4Runner. And the 4Runner getting redesigned for 2025 model year. That's exciting as well. Well, let's talk about it a little bit, because I think with the redesign, Toyota also shifts the perspective of where this Land Cruiser sits as far as their lineup. Because it used to be the top of the line, right? Top of the Toyota SUV segment. And I honestly think that it flip-flopped it right now with the new Sequoia, because the Sequoia is bigger. It's also more expensive, because once you get the fully loaded one, you're getting into the 90s. It's bigger. It's got the third row seat, although it's not very usable, to be honest with you. It doesn't have a ton of cargo space. But I'm pretty sure this one is more capable off-road because of a shorter wheelbase, a better, departure and approach angles. So, but I still think that it puts it right below it. Now at 56 to about 75, that's still quite a bit of money, especially with the new 4Runner being redesigned. Now the new 4Runner is going to be powered up, or one of the engine choices is going to be the same one as we have on this Land Cruiser. It's going to be available at the third row seat. This one is a 2 rows only, at least for now it is, and it's more expensive. Well, I guess we're going to wait and find out what the new 4Runner is. I haven't seen one other than on pictures and videos, so it's hard for me to determine that, but just looking at the specs and the pictures. Let's check out the slight acceleration. It doesn't seem like it's struggling at all, getting it up to speed. Sits up higher. I mean, that is a firmer ride. I would expect that out of a body on frame vehicle, so I don't mind it at all. I just don't know if Toyota has done enough to justify the price point of this iconic nameplate. Well, let me know what you think about it. I think it's a great truck. It's a great SUV. But is it worth it? Well, guys, I want to hear your comments. Put them in the comment section below. Is it worth it, you think? Does it live up to this iconic nameplate Land Cruiser? And let me know what you think about it overall. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you enjoy watching it. And if you did, don't forget to check out the rest of my channel. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.